As always, Ted, kicks off. Who do you have as your winner of the weekend?
I have to admit that I I think I let the past influence my opinion over OU's softball team this year. I was unsure. And Texas coming to town, playing the way that they had played. I my confidence was not super high. My fault. I feel like it is proven to be like the launching pad for this year's softball team because Texas had it rolling, came into town, and got it handed to them twice. Right. Third game is today. We'll see what happens. Hopefully
Full
they.
full disclosure, we are recording right now because I am going to game 3.
That's right.
So I had
That's
to
right.
get it in. But it doesn't matter. Series is already won, but a sweep would be awfully nice.
Sweep would be nice. And the pitching has been great. Now, Texas made a run late in the first game, made it interesting. Um,
Interesting,
scary, made it scary.
uncomfortable. I was very uncomfortable on the couch.
Yep. But I thought it was great that we jumped on them. The offense was rolling, and same thing in game two, dropping bombs out there. The pitching has been excellent, and I mean, you love to see it because you knew that Texas was coming to town and probably smelled blood in the water with Oklahoma, by any other standard having an amazing season. But, when you've won four straight and ripping off 50 game win streaks, that probably thought that this was a weak Oklahoma team that they were going to be able to go in and pounce on. Not so fast. The mind control over Texas softball is still alive and well. And I got to tell you, I don't know that there could be a bigger statement right now than a sweep over Texas. And I mean, nationally, for what people think of you, and I think in that locker room, there's a lot of new faces, right? And there's been some filling out with lineups and where exactly they're going to be. I think that this could be a big boost and get them into a good spot mentally to close out the season. I mean, post game or a postseason is here. You got one more series with Florida next week, and then we're going to be in the postseason. So the time to get things right is running short, and this came at the best time it could.
Kirsten Deal was so good in game 2.
Yep.
That was good to see.
Yep.
I I have a new favorite player. Agbayani, love her.
Yes. Yeah. Stud.
Vibes. The name is awesome. It's really fun to say. She's a complete stud. She's my new favorite player.
Yeah. It helps
The Grand
whenever.
Slam probably had something to do with it in game 1. That probably heavily influenced me.
Yep. When you're dropping bombs against Texas, and I mean, putting a freaking charge into the ball. I mean, she's hit some monster shots, which I love. So I'm with you. It's a lot of fun to watch, and she's got a very, very bright future in front of her.
I when we talked to Plank about the softball team, when he gave us his update on our last episode, he mentioned that Ella Parker was kind of battling through a bit of a nagging injury. She looked just fine to me. I mean,
Yep.
she was raking in game 2, just hammering the ball. So I was fired up, man. Yelling on the couch, watching those, very excited to go to game 3. Hopefully I get to see him cap off the sweep, but I I have to assume that with what the Sooners did this weekend, there's a little part of everyone around the country going, "Oh no, here we
They're
go
back.
again."
Yep. The same Oklahoma. There's no doubt. I mean, and I think this team, there's been some soul searching, just trying to find out um, what their identity is going to be. Like it's a new team. There's a bunch of new faces, and I think confidence is the most underrated factor in all of sports. And right now, like whenever you have such high expectations coming into a year, and you've got a bunch of new people, you're not exactly sure how it's going to go. And I think that's with coaches, that's with fans, but that's also with the players on the roster. And I I I have to imagine that right now everyone's feeling like they belong and they've got something special coming in store to finish the season. So I loved it. Awesome stuff.
Game one shouldn't have been as close as it was.
That's
Base
right.
running, miscue, some errors that made it more interesting than it should have been.
That's right.
But a win's a win.
Win is a win.
But I was real uncomfortable.
Yep.
Real uncomfortable in the seventh.
Yeah, they made a little charge late, and they're not gonna lay down for game three. And that's not that not that we are going to rest on having won the series by any stretch, but they're not going to go away. They're going to do everything they can to come away with at least one. So, but a sweep would be amazing and a massive statement.
This is this is a crazy question, but I was thinking about it a lot last night as I was going through some of the social media reaction to OU's game two win. Is Mike White the most disliked person by the OU fan base? I don't think any fan base cares about a softball about cares about softball as much as OU fans do. It has a lot to do with the level of success. I mean, that's just the truth. But it seems like Mike White is the number one person that all OU fans love to just get after, dude.
No doubt.
Isn't that crazy? Like we've got football, basketball. The number one person on OU fans list is the Texas softball coach.
Well, hey, I don't think there's any argument that Patty Gasso is like, if not the most loved Sooner coach of all time in all sports. She is on the very short list. And whenever you call her a cheater and, then try and back out and say that you didn't do it. And, I guess there's been some fun exchanges at the World Series with him as well. Easily hateable, you know, easily hateable.
It's just
And
funny. Hey, who do OU fans hate the most? It's Texas's softball coach. You know, it just seems strange, but it's so true, man. We do not like that guy.
no, and I think that I think he feels that. I think their team feels it. And I think it affects the way that they play against Oklahoma. I mean, there's no doubt that Oklahoma has the massive mental advantage over Texas right now, and you can see it.
I hope I get to witness that advantage in game three.
Yes.
Watch him run rule him in game three. Oh, I'll
Be
be,
big. Send them home early. It's Sunday. Just want to help them get home quicker.
yeah,
Long bus ride.
it's a long trip. Long trip back to Austin. Who do you have as your loser of the weekend? That was a lot on softball for people complaining that we haven't been talking enough softball. There you go.
There's a lot on softball. Loser of the week is ORU. ORU is not Dallas Baptist,
Oh no.
obviously. We tried we threw the midweek game against ORU purposely to try and go get the win on the road against Georgia, and we gave it a hell of a shot. One game one, which was awesome. Talkie had a couple of bombs. They got that short right field there in Georgia. I thought he was going to be a huge piece this weekend in the series. and he was in game one, but then has sliding into second hairline fracture. So he's out right now. Hopefully we get him back for postseason, but that was a big loss for us. And we had opportunities in game two. It was a crazy game. They won at 10-9. And then in the final game, jumped ahead early and had tons of opportunities. 9 guys left on base. We had, I think it was the third inning, second or third inning early. We had bases loaded with 1 out and hit into a double play. Didn't get anything out of that. We had so many opportunities that we just couldn't take advantage of in the final game. And Georgia, the home run ball for Georgia continues to be huge. They hit a couple of big home runs against us, and that was the difference.
I thought losing Taki was a huge yes, it affects you when it comes to what he would have brought from a production standpoint. But when a guy has a game like that and you lose him, like there's a toll it takes on the entire team.
Yep.
And so that was a bummer. I was proud of the way that they battled back in game two. But they were down, was it 6-0 after like 2 innings?
Mm-hmm.
And to their credit, they, Crossland kind of found it on the mound after that point, and then they got the bats going a little bit and made that thing really exciting. But yeah, I'm not overly concerned about the way that things went. Like Georgia's a really good baseball team. They got to get Taki back. Hopefully he can come back quickly and be ready to go at some point in the postseason. I don't know, man, but you're right, man. That's a big loss.
It was a really big opportunity. Like if you look at a lot of the projections right now with what the tournament would look like, a lot of people had Georgia hosting, and we're kind of that next level. And had we been able to come out of there and win that series against Georgia, would have been a really big step towards hosting a regional. It could still happen. Ole Miss is right there kind of alongside you in the standings as well. We got the big series with them coming up next week. That's going to be at Eldell. That's going to be a big one. And then you got Kentucky, and then you close with Texas. So you've got some opportunities here, but that was a missed one. And I know Skip's not going to be happy with all the runners they left on base. Especially on the road, you got to be able to close some of those out and get some runs across and force the pressure back over to Georgia. We kind of let them off the hook, but I still think that there's a window to be able to host a regional, which is huge if you can get that.
When you get a start like they got from Malachi Witherspoon in game 3, you're feeling like you let one slip away.
No doubt. He was
awesome, man.
Yep.
So you've got me watching more baseball than ever, dude. I'm in.
It's
I'm in.
fun.
I was dialed in pretty much all weekend to all those games, but yeah,
it's
Jordan,
only going to get better. It's only going
ball.
to get better. Yeah, they've hit a ton of home runs, and they did lose the Zaborowski guy, who's incredible. That did hurt them too. You do have to mention that, but it's been awesome to watch. It's fun, and it's going to continue to crank up. The series against Ole Miss is going to be awesome next week. Can't wait. I'll be out there.
Let's get to my winner and loser of the weekend. But first, if you're as passionate about OU sports as we are, now's your chance to make a difference with One Oklahoma. As the official NIL partner of the University of Oklahoma, One Oklahoma plays a crucial role in keeping the Sooners competitive in the SEC. Your subscription goes beyond the revenue sharing cap, directly helping recruit and support the athletes who become Sooner legends. Plus, you'll get access to exclusive events, behind the scenes content, merch, giveaways, and more. Join the team and be the difference maker for your Sooners. Join today at oneoklahoma.com. And 3 things matter in banking: service, service, and service. And First Fidelity Bank's commitment to exceptional service is more than a promise. It's their foundation. FFB has been by your side for over a century, and they are honored to be a part of your journey. Banking isn't about where you've been, it's about where you are headed. Open an account at an award-winning bank today at ffb.com. At First Fidelity Bank, we go where you go. And go to opolisclothing.com and use promo code TED for 10% off our podcast merchandise and the best OU gear out there. That's opolisclothing.com and use promo code TED. Buttery soft and 10% off. For my winner of the weekend, get out the brooms, Ted. Got ourselves a sweep. The Oklahoma City Thunder complete the sweep of the Memphis Grizzlies on Saturday with a very exciting 117-115 win. I know the Grizzlies didn't have John Morant for game 4, but still not easy to sweep a team in the playoffs. Certainly not easy to sweep a team when in game 4 you shoot 20% from 3.
Whew.
But Thunder found a way, man. And now they get to kind of sit, relax, reassess some things, sharpen some things out there on the practice court, and just see what happens with that Nuggets Clippers series.
Yeah, that one's going to be crazy. Tied 2-2. I mean, it's hard to imagine that thing doesn't go 7. I don't know. Maybe someone can jump up and grab the next two, but that series is going to be wild. And yeah, it was nice to get the sweep. We talked about this a little bit. Would it be a little bit better if maybe they, continued to played 5, but I got no problems with the sweep and being able to get it done in Memphis against those red unis. What the hell was that?
Who is making these decisions for the Memphis Grizzlies? So throughout the playoffs, they have worn jerseys that say Vancouver Grizzlies on them.
Right.
And then they wore red jerseys at home with the court like their navy and baby blue scheme. My wife, it was the first thing she said when we turned the game on. She goes, "What are they doing with their jerseys?" Who's making those decisions for the Memphis Grizzlies? It looks awful.
Looks terrible. I say the same thing. I feel like repeatedly on here, you do not want people to walk by the television and not know immediately who's playing. And I got to the game late, and my brain could not process that we were still playing Memphis. I was like, what? Who the hell is that? Did we switch? Are we playing the Rockets now? What is happening? It was weird, but it was good to see him pull that off. I would still say that, even though we got the sweep and, won some games really easily, that I don't know that it went as perfectly as you like. We're not clicking like we're not playing perfect basketball, I guess is what I should say.
No, I think that's a great point because you do get the sweep, but it is one of those situations where Mark Daignault can go, guys, that's nowhere near what we're capable of.
Right.
Now, it was encouraging. Shea looked like himself in game 4.
Yep.
Way more efficient, 38 points, played with a ton of confidence. The step back dagger there at the end of the game was filthy. I guess we can allow him to keep wearing the gray shoes. I guess it's fine.
I mean, the breaking in period, I guess, is
maybe that's what it was. They were a little too rigid. Just needed to break them in a little bit.
Just needed to break them in, get the foot used to the new shoe a little bit, and hopefully in round 2 feeling right back at home. But yeah, I think that it was nice to see him round back into form a little bit, and I don't know. As long as I get to see Caruso diving all over the floor, flying out of bounds, he is a lot of fun to watch.
He is a menace, dude.
Yes.
I love that guy. And there is no one in the National Basketball Association better than him at slapping down on the ball and getting nothing but all ball. He has a gift.
Yep.
It's amazing. And
He's the NBA's Peanut Tillman is what he is.
that's a perfect comparison. The Caruso chop instead
Yep.
of the peanut punch.
That's right.
It is, I mean, it's so fun to watch. And I I remember watching him play for the Thunder for the first time, like at a regular season game. And I went back and I had some overreactions to that game. And one of them, this is a tweet from, I think it's like October 25th, that said Caruso will be on the floor in the last 5 minutes of playoff games. Nailed it.
Yep.
So he's just, his value, it just doesn't show up in a box score. Anyone that watches the game, you just go, man, 9 is just ruining everything for the other team.
Yep.
He's fantastic, dude.
Makes a huge impact on the game. Yeah, and especially late. He's great in transition, great on defense, flying all over the place, diving for balls, great energy. He's incredibly quick and fast, and he's one of the guys. You're right. Like you walk away from the game and you look at the box score and you're like, hang on a second. This doesn't look like what the end of the game felt like. He makes a big impact, and I don't know. He is the perfect role player.
I'm with you. I think, and I know Ja got hurt, and there was that whole thing, and that sucked. Like you never want to see a guy go down that the way that he did in Game 3. But I do think. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that was really confusing. That like there was a strange amount of people that thought that that was like a purposely dirty play by Dort. I just don't know how you can get there watching that play in slow motion. Even in slow motion, there's just no way that he did that on purpose. There's no way. It was weird.
And there's also people acting like Dort has some long history of hurting guys. What are you talking about? Like, it made no sense. You know what my analysis of that play is? Hey, Scottie Pippen Jr., lay the ball in the basket. What are you doing?
Right.
You're wide open for a layup. Just lay it in.
Yep.
Like, what are you doing?
Yep.
That's just my read on it. But I do think going back and thinking, what was it? It's like the biggest second half comeback in the history of the NBA playoffs.
26.
I think the value in that was they now know, like, we better be at a certain level of intensity or else we're going to get beat. And I know they came back and won the game. But I think that was a wake-up call. It's like, hey, there's a certain level. Like, we got to be ready to roll.
Yep.
And they were not there. It was weird to watch them.
You're not going to be able to get away with that in the next round at all.
No. I did think that the second half that Chet had in that Game 3 comeback was huge for his confidence and huge for this team. I thought that was big. And then overall, just looking at the series as a whole, Jalen Williams was awesome. I mean, if you look across the entire series, he was the best player for the Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
And that's huge for his confidence because, like you said, Ted, it's going up a level next round. And I feel like Jalen Williams went up a level in the playoffs. And I think he's going to have the confidence to be like, you know what? Whether it's Kawhi, Jamal Murray, whoever, like he's going to go out on that court and go, I got it. Don't worry, I'm capable of this. I was really, really encouraged by what we saw from him in the series.
I agree. Let me ask you this. Am I crazy for preferring to see Denver over the Clippers?
No, I think pretty much everyone would agree with you.
Kawhi Leonard he's scaring the hell out of me.
Yes. He looks amazing.
It's like I had forgotten about him for some reason, and he is right back into peak form. Harden looks good. They're dangerous, man.
Clippers have more depth than the Nuggets. Now, the Nuggets have Jokic, and no one's got an answer for that guy. But I think the depth, you've got Russ is hurt with the foot. Don't really know when he's going to be back off that whole thing. So the Nuggets are thin, man. Really thin. So if they can somehow find a way through this series, you're feeling really good about going against a depleted and at that point kind of worn down team.
Yeah,
I
yeah. I don't know. I'm. This is what we want, though, right? It's not going to be a cruise. It's going to be tough. That next round is going to be very, very difficult. And I don't know. Sign me up for it, though. I like it.
it's going to be amazing. The one last thought I have on the series and kind of the Thunder as a whole, if they want to win it all, which I think has become the expectation, got to shoot the three better, man.
Yeah.
You look at it, game 4, you somehow win a game where you go 7 of 35 from three, 20%. Game 3, historic comeback, 13 of 38, 34%. Game 2, you're 15 of 45, 33%. Game 1, even though you just have a historically large victory in that game, you're still only 17 of 48 from three. You shoot 35%. Like, this sounds stupid, but you gotta hit more threes, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't have the answer to that. Hopefully it's just, the averages play themselves out. You get back to where you sat for most of the season and perform a little bit better outside of three. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I mean, you could talk about it a bunch of different ways, but after the way that series went, personally, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to have a little bit of time to kind of settle in to the postseason a little bit, get your legs back under you, and gear up for the next round.
I'm with you. Nice sweep. Sweep always feels good.
Feels good.
And now we can just sit back and watch the Nuggets and Clippers beat the hell out of each other.
The hell out of each other. That's right.
That buzzer beater, that was crazy.
Those games, all of them. I mean, I guess it's just it's high level. I guess to me is what's really cool to watch. I mean, it's for first round. I mean, that's about as good as it looks like a Western Conference final.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It's a delight to watch. I would like for it to go to 7 excruciatingly physical, long, hard-fought games.
That's right. That's right. I agree.
My loser of the weekend. We've come to the Shedeur Sanders portion of the podcast, Ted.
Woo.
You have to, if you do a podcast, you have to have an opinion on the Shedeur Sanders situation. So here we go. Now, coming into the draft, I hadn't seen anyone have him going later than the second round. He ends up going in the 5th round, 144th overall. It was such a wild slide that Mel Kiper pretty much blacked out and couldn't talk about anything else. Dude lost his mind on the desk. It was something to witness.
Yeah.
Dude, this has to be the biggest when it comes to a guy not having really any controversy at all. Like no legal
big
issue.
moment. Yes.
Yeah. No legal issues. No, nothing like that. Shedeur Sanders had nothing like that. This is undoubtedly the biggest draft day slide we've ever seen. And so let's start the conversation, Ted. Why? What do you think happened here?
From what I can gather, it just appears that throughout the evaluation process, I don't think there's any doubt that he has some great tools. He's a playmaker. He can make all the throws, but the unseriousness in which he approached the interview process and everything leading up to it, you know, making the list and talking about teams that you do not want to draft you, and not being locked in and focused and feeling like the preparation phase and the interview process is below you is not a good look. In order to run a team, a franchise, be the face of a franchise, like, you have to be locked in and ready to go to work and prove that. And I think he just turned everyone off with the way he led into the draft. I mean, all of the stuff you saw like throughout the last couple of years, and the way that he kind of carried himself, okay, maybe it's not that big of a deal until you go into the actual, okay, now it's time to get drafted. Whether you think that the process is stupid or whatever, you got to lock in. It's a competition. You're competing against other quarterbacks. And when you got guys showing up to meetings that are prepared, that want to be there, that want to put their best foot forward, that are willing to learn, that are willing to engage in the process, it just turns into a really bad look.
It is not cool to act like you do not care about something. I
Not
think
when
that's an
people are going to
important
invest a lot of money in you.
I think that's an important lesson for young athletes everywhere to understand. It is not cool to act like you are not interested in something. And Ted, unfortunately in my NFL career, I got to experience a lot of different organizations. The quarterback position is just different, man. Teams want leaders of men. Teams want guys at the quarterback position that bring everyone together. Guys that are likable. Guys that repeatedly show how much they care about their teammates, about the organization, about the product that they're putting out on the field. They want guys at the quarterback position that care. So in the process leading up to the draft, when you act like you don't care that much, they're going to think you don't care that much. And this is the thing about, you see all these different reports, like, okay, what's true, what's not. Have you read anything from an anonymous source that was like a glowing review of what Shedeur did in an interview or in the process?
No.
I haven't seen a single one. So that makes me think that it's fair to say that Shedeur Sanders did not handle the pre-draft process the way you should. NFL organizations want quarterbacks that take things seriously. You can make fun of Russell Wilson all you want and the way that he kind of goes about his thing, but no one questions whether or not that guy cares. They may question whether it's authentic or not, but no one questions whether or not he cares. You know he's taking it seriously. And there is a ratio that teams are willing to put up with when it comes to talent and BS for a player. And I think the mistake that Shedeur Sanders and the people around him made was thinking that he was some big-time talent at the quarterback position. It sounds like he conducted himself as if he was a guy that has elite physical traits for the position. And he does not. He's not Josh Allen. He's not Patrick Mahomes. He's not Lamar Jackson. He's a really good player who should have never fallen to the 5th round with the talent that he has. But when you look at the ratio, there's a lot of BS that comes with them.
That's right. A lot of baggage, a lot of negative baggage.
And so they're factoring everything in. So if you don't have that elite, those elite traits that they're looking for, you better calm the concerns that these teams have when it comes to all the things, all the BS. And it sounds like he didn't calm those concerns. They lit him on fire.
Yep.
If when you don't have elite tools, you better check all the other boxes. You better be a great teammate. You better be a great leader. You better be a guy that brings guys together. You better be a guy that brings limited distractions. And it doesn't sound like Shedeur Sanders presented himself as that type of guy.
No. And I saw like people trying to make comparisons to like Baker Mayfield, and there is no comparison between those two players at all. There is nobody. Baker came with a lot of confidence and a lot of attitude. He rubbed people the wrong way for other teams because of how like locked in he was. Everything was about the game. Everything was about his team. You have never heard anyone ever at any level say that Baker Mayfield is not 100% locked in, that he's not a leader of men, that his teammates absolutely love the guy and will. I mean, Orlando Brown carried his damn jersey out to the coin toss like, he was no longer with us whenever he was just missing the coin toss. His teammates love him and will do anything for him on the field. No comparison between those two players at all. No, I mean, it's the most ridiculous comparison I've ever seen.
It's racism. I I I I think the people that think that all of these organizations colluded against Shedeur Sanders, I think those people are not living in reality. It's simple. The talent to BS ratio. It was way off for Shedeur Sanders. And if and this is something that's very hard for people to accept. And it took me a long time. Now, I was an undrafted guy. Shedeur Sanders still got drafted. But you try to figure out what went wrong. What's wrong with these teams? Why didn't they see how good I am? No. You have no one to blame but yourself. If Shedeur Sanders would have put better stuff on tape, he would have gone in the first round. He would have, because all these NFL organizations care about is winning. They will put some of the worst people imaginable on their team if it results in them winning games. So this whole, there was this big, they all colluded against him. There was some secret Zoom of all the owners to say, hey, we're not picking any of these guys. We're going to prove a point to Shedeur Sanders. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. If he had elite physical tools, he would have gone in the first round. Now, if he would have handled the process differently, I think he probably goes in the first round because there's a lot to like. He's extremely marketable. Teams like that as well. Teams like to sell tickets, Ted.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't handle it the way that he was supposed to, and he has no one to blame but himself.
Yeah.
And the sooner he accepts that, the better.
And, it unfortunately, it takes on like a life of its own to where, okay, he doesn't go in the first round. Big story. It's all anyone's talking about. And then, the second round starts and there's all of this negative energy around it. Like, it gets to a point where it's like, I don't want to draft that mess. Like, forget anything about him and the player. Like, after he didn't go in the first and didn't go in the second, it becomes this thing of its own that is going to be a massive distraction for whoever takes him, which happened to be Cleveland. And did they take him at gunpoint? Was Goodell standing there saying you have to take
I,
him?
let me know if you can think of something. I certainly can't. That is the clip of the Browns war room when they picked Shedeur is unlike anything I've ever seen. Andrew Berry, the GM, could he have looked any more miserable? Like even you could see Jimmy Haslam, the owner, over in the corner. It's not like he's doing jumping jacks. What happened there?
I don't know. And here's the thing.
That was nuts, dude. Like
it was
you have never seen a group of people look less excited to draft a player. That was
yeah.
crazy.
And especially whenever the fact that he has a chance to be a great pick that you got where you got him, right?
Yeah.
You got a guy that was, by almost everyone. I went back and looked at a lot of the mock drafts, and there was a handful of people that had him going in the second, but most people had him going in the first round, like 21 to Pittsburgh was a pretty common pick. But it wasn't very long ago where he was thought of as a top 10 pick, number one quarterback taken. And you got him in the fifth, has a potential to be a home run pick. Now, we'll see what happens and how that locker room responds to him, but it's going to be totally different for him, that's for sure, especially walking into a locker room with, a guy like Myles Garrett in there. And, I don't know. I think the value wise, it was a good pick for Cleveland, but it definitely looked like no one in the room wanted to do it.
I will say the kids that did the little prank phone call on him, those kids suck. That's not cool, man. And I am a big believer in karma. Karma will come for those guys.
Yeah.
It's not funny, man.
Not funny. And I
Is it
guess
illegal?
I don't,
Is
I
it a
don't know.
crime?
I don't think it's a crime, but it's not a good look. And I don't know, but like that number was only circulated with NFL teams, right? Like somehow that number got out, and I don't know. There it's something that people are going to dig around. It's probably going to become a story, and I don't think there's a crime or anything, or I don't even think it's against, I don't know if it's against NFL rules, but somebody's going to look very bad, whoever let that number get out.
Yes. Someone that's going to not be good for someone.
Right.
I feel bad for Dylan Gabriel, man. You
Yeah.
work extremely hard. You have a great last year in college. You get drafted in the third round. And everyone's reaction to it is Dylan Gabriel's going before Sanders. What's happening here? This guy stinks. Like that just Mel Kiper's losing it on the desk. I couldn't just could not keep it together.
Well, you think the Kuiper thing was I he I the way I view it is he is so angry because he got left out of the loop and looks bad for having mocked him so high. Like this is his job, and the way I view it is he's mad because it makes him look bad, not because he's got this big stance on the NFL, not evaluating guys right, and how good of a player he is. I just think it's like I look bad because of where I had him, and he spun out of control.
It was crazy, man. It was wild to watch. But I think ultimately Shedeur Sanders has a chance to prove a lot of people wrong. I think the guy's a good player, but he's got to show up to Cleveland and just work. That's how he will earn those players' respect. Show up and grind like all the other guys. Show up, learn the playbook inside and out, participate in everything, and take it very seriously. Treat it like it's your job. Ask questions when you need to ask questions. Get to know the other guys in the locker room. But most importantly, you will earn their respect by coming in and putting the work in.
Yeah. I honestly think that there is a chance, like getting out of his dad's shadow and kind of getting into the real world of how football is for everyone else. It is either going to go poorly to where he doesn't get the special treatment he's always gotten and he doesn't respond well to it. It could go really well for him to where everything else is gone and this is just strictly going to go off of my merits as a football player. How much work like the work I put in, how I ingrain myself with the football team and go off of strictly talent alone and no special treatment, not going to have the entourage following him around everywhere. I mean, ultimately, it could be the best thing for him. We'll see how he responds to it.
That Browns quarterback room,
Woo!
Deshaun Watson, he'll be gone. But Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders.
What a group.
What a group. I I'm very interested. It may be the most interesting quarterback situation in the entire NFL now.
Are there two are there any two guys that are more different in the same position group than Joe Flacco and Shedeur Sanders?
Honestly, and Sanders doesn't have Flacco's cannon of an arm, but Joe Flacco, every guy that I know that has played with him loves the guy.
Yeah.
Talks about how awesome of a teammate he is, what a great locker room guy he is, how pleasant he is to be around. And I think Sanders can learn a lot from Joe Flacco. Sanders is going to be a guy that has to play from the pocket. That's what Flacco has been his entire career. He's done it at a high level. He's been in the league for forever now, Ted. He's had a great career. Shedeur Sanders he should be thrilled if he has Joe Flacco's career.
It's all about how he approaches it.
Yeah.
If he approaches it and says, I can really learn from this guy, I think it could be great for him. If he approaches it and says, I can't learn from this old man, he's got nothing to show me, and I've got all the answers, then it's going to be devastatingly bad for him.
It's the most interesting story in the National Football League now. What happens with the Cleveland Browns quarterback situation?
Exactly what they need, right? More drama in the quarterback room.
Perfect.